This is Sky News Today with Wilfred Frost. It's 10 o'clock. Your headlines. The Prime Minister denies the Conservative Party has Islamophobic tendencies, calling remarks by the party's former Deputy Chairman Lee Anderson wrong. The Palestinian Prime Minister resigns amid growing US pressure over political reform in the region. In a never-before-seen interview, the late Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny hits out at corrupt individuals living in London. And investigations launched into 8 major British house builders following concerns over a persistent under-delivery of new homes.
Tax cuts. We all want them, right?
The fight for your attention, examining the social media ads that suggest a general election campaign is already underway. And George Michael is honoured as a collectible coin featuring the Starr singer is unveiled by the Royal Mint. Very good morning to you. The Prime Minister has denied that the Conservative Party has Islamophobic tendencies. Rishi Sunak says MP Lee Anderson's remarks that sparked an Islamophobia row weren't acceptable, they were wrong. He was speaking in Yorkshire, where he's chairing a cabinet meeting later this morning. Mr Anderson was suspended after he claimed Mayor of London Sadiq Khan was under the control of Islamists.
Has the Conservative Party got Islamophobic tendencies, Prime Minister?
No, of course it doesn't. And I think it's incumbent on all of us, especially those elected to Parliament, not to inflame our debates in a way that's harmful to others. Lee's comments weren't acceptable, they were wrong, and that's why he's had the whip suspended.
This morning, my colleague Kay Burley repeatedly asked Transport Secretary Mark Harper if Lee Anderson's comments were racist.
You say it was wrong. Was it racist?
Well, it was wrong, and I'm not going to get into arguing about the rights and wrongs of what he said. It was wrong. In my book, wrong is a strong word. It was not true.
Different word to racist.
As I said, Sadiq Khan's got a terrible record on his track record as Mayor of London.
That's not my question, Mr Harper. You've already dealt with that matter. My question is, was it racist what he said?
Well, look, I'm not going to get into a detailed analysis of what he said. What he said was wrong, and it wasn't true. He shouldn't have said it. He failed to take the opportunity to retract those comments and apologise. That's why there was firm leadership.
Lots of people are wrong. I'm wrong on a daily basis. I'm not a racist.
No, but what he said about Sadiq Khan was profoundly
racist?
Wrong. Those things were not true. They're not true, and what he said was wrong, and he shouldn't have said them.
Well, the Labour Party chair, Annalise Dodds, said Lee Anderson's comments are a problem for the Conservative Party.
Unfortunately, they were unambiguously racist, Islamophobic, divisive and damaging. And I have to say the revelation that even today, after knowing about those remarks, that we see Conservative MPs rallying around Lee Anderson in WhatsApp groups, I think that shows the extent of the problem in the Conservative Party, and also the fact that Rishi Sunak seems to be too weak to deal with that problem.
Our political correspondent Tamara Cohen able to join us live in Westminster. I guess, Tamara, the question now is whether the slightly elevated words from the Prime Minister, by saying explicitly it was wrong this morning, will draw a line under this for the Conservatives or not. And I know a lot of people get annoyed with us for asking these sorts of questions of ministers. But there's form here, recent form, updated once again today, because the Conservative Party chairman, Richard Holden, in a tweet regarding Labour's former Labour candidate Azhar Ali's comments, called those comments blatantly racist and anti-Semitic. So it's hard then to watch a Conservative minister not even answer the question as to whether these comments were Islamophobic or racist, and see this as something that might have a line drawn under it very soon.
Well, let's unpick it a bit. Lee Anderson was the sort of plain-speaking MP who became the surprise deputy chairman of the Conservative Party. So he was given a senior job by Rishi Sunak about a year ago. And at the end of last week, he told GB News that Sadiq Khan was being controlled by Islamists. He said they had got control of Sadiq Khan and London. And there was a lot of outrage at these comments, with some Tory MPs, former cabinet ministers like Robert Buckland, for example, saying that these were racist comments. Now, The Tory party then suspended him, but only said that his comments were wrong and suggested that he would be suspended because he hadn't apologised. And if he had apologised, they would have kept him on. Today, Rishi Sunak stepped up his criticism a bit, speaking to local radio in Yorkshire, and said that it was not only wrong, but inflamed the debate. So that was the issue. He said that Lee Anderson's comments had inflamed tensions, which are already obviously running very high about the Middle East conflict. And we heard Mark Harper, the cabinet minister, this morning saying that what he'd said was not true. They don't want to say that his comments are racist. Perhaps it depends on the definition of the word Islamist and why it was used in that context. But although Tories, including the former party chairman Saeed Avasi, have said these are racist comments, Rishi Sunak has not gone that far. So is he going to close down this row? Well, possibly not, for a few reasons. It seems to have touched on a bit of a fault line in the Tory party. We revealed this morning that in some Conservative WhatsApp groups, particularly among newly elected MPs, there is quite a lot of support for Lee Anderson, and MPs have been exchanging messages saying that the decision to suspend him was the final nail in the coffin. Now, this isn't everyone's view, but it's clearly the view of some in the Conservative Party. You've also got the fact that, as you mentioned, the Conservatives are currently in the process of criticising Labour over a row which has some similar characteristics. You've got a by-election in Rochdale later this week in which the Labour candidate has been dropped by the party for making what they concede are anti-Semitic remarks about Jews controlling the media, and the Conservatives have been very critical of an initial decision to stand by that candidate, Azhar Ali, who's running alongside a number of other candidates in that by-election. So they're trying to criticise Labour while also embroiled in a row of their own. So this may run and run. Mr. Anderson is not shrinking violet and has his own TV show in which to potentially say more about it as well. So I think that criticism will continue, although Rishi Sunak is trying very hard to draw a line under it, but it touches on issues which have been a problem for the Conservative Party in the past. This is not the first time they've been accused by people internally of not being tough on Islamophobia.
It's interesting that the final line of Richard Holden's letter to Annalise Dodd this morning said, rather than play political games, I would encourage you to get your own house in order, which just seems like a particularly rich line to end a letter on following the weekend. But my quick follow-up question tomorrow was what the Prime Minister still needs to focus on as it relates to internal party politics. I mean, before these comments, most importantly, but also back in the early days of his premiership, he did have to try and pull together a very divided party with quite a broad spectrum of views, having not really won a vote to come to power himself. Clearly, a lot of time has passed, and clearly, more importantly, these comments have been made. Does he have to still try and thread a difficult needle simply ahead of a general election, not to lose votes to parties to his right? Or is there a sort of a more critical survival threat that actually he could be ousted as Prime Minister if he doesn't continue to do that?
Well, I think most Conservatives are of the view that although the party's in a very tricky position in the polls, and most Conservatives think they're on course for defeat, changing leader again after the three leaders they had in 2022 would not be a good strategy. A few do think it might be, but most of them don't. Yes, the difficulty Rishi Sunak has is that if you're pushed into positions, then you potentially look weak. But of course, you've got the Tory party in some very, very in a very, very factional place at the moment. You have the former Prime Minister, Liz Truss, who's just been touring the right-wing conferences in the US, talking about the deep state and suggesting that Nigel Farage should be welcomed back into the Conservative Party to sort it out. Labour are now saying maybe you should start investigating some of the things she's saying. You've got supporters of Lee Anderson who feel that he was, speaking for voters. And then you've got a large portion in the centre of the Tory party who were outraged by his views and think that, Rishi Sunak needs to take a firm stand and show that the party is in the political mainstream and won't tolerate views like this. So I think he's being pulled in different directions. And I think as this plays out this week, it could intensify further, because we know that there may be a further vote on Gaza that the SNP are trying to table at the moment. Rishi Sunak has been trying to make a broader point about what he says are intimidating elements of pro-Palestinian protests, which he says has put undue pressure on members of parliament. So Tory sources acknowledge that this is a difficult time to have this row about Lee Anderson when he's trying to make that point, especially when you have all the political parties pointing the finger at each other over what they say are racist and unacceptable remarks.
Tamara, as always, thanks so much. The Palestinian Prime Minister, Mohammed Shataya, has submitted his resignation in a move that could open the door to reforms in the Palestinian Authority. President Mahmoud Abbas is yet to decide whether he has accepted the resignation. Well, let's get more from our Middle East correspondent, Alistair Bunkle, who joins us from Jerusalem. Alistair, talk us through exactly what this means.
Well, it had been rumoured certainly over the weekend, the rumours started becoming quite strong that Dr. Starr would take this action, and he has done so this morning. As you say, Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian president, has not yet formally accepted the resignation, but I think on the assumption that he does, it will result in the formation of a new government in the Palestinian Authority, and the expectation is it would be a technocratic government, perhaps with only marginal political links. So I suppose the question is, why now? Well, there are hostage talks ongoing. They've moved to Qatar now, and there are positive signs that there might be some progression made in those talks. The departure of Mohammed Starr and the Palestinian government is not a precondition for success in those talks, but there is a scenario whereby, were those talks to be successfully agreed, there could be a ceasefire in Gaza lasting 6 weeks, possibly more, and that would create room for diplomacy and room for negotiations over what happens in the Gaza Strip next, who is in charge of governance in the Gaza Strip once the war is over. Now, the Americans who back the Palestinian Authority have said that it does need to be revitalized, and the Israelis have said that the Palestinian Authority in its current format is not an organisation that it can work with, and is not an organisation that it would be happy to see take control in Gaza. So it could be that part of Starr's thinking is very politically calculating. By removing himself and therefore the rest of the government and reforming it with technocrats, he's effectively removing one of the potential obstacles to the Palestinians being in control at the very least of Gaza following the end of the war. He's basically saying, look, we are doing our bit, if you like. We are changing as you have demanded. So if there remain outstanding problems, then they're on your side, not on ours. It's not going to be simple, that, though. For example, if they are going to reform the Palestinian government, it will probably need some sort of agreement from Hamas, because Hamas, who had very little role to play in the West Bank before October the 7th, has really grown in popularity since then. Hamas will also want to say over who controls the Gaza Strip following the end of the war. People might think that sounds odd because the Israeli plan is to destroy Hamas, but you won't destroy them as an entire political body, because they're so widespread in Gaza, and so there will need to be some sort of agreement with them. And I think this is all about the politics involved around that.
As always, Alistair Bunkle, thank you so much for that. Let's bring in now our military analyst, Sean Bell, who's here with me on set. Sean, if that's the latest on some of the political developments, what's the latest on the military developments on the ground?
Yeah, Wilf, it looks like a bit of a tangled mess. As a military guy, particularly during a war, you'd expect to see a lot going on, but all of it being coherent. Not all of it looks coherent. Just to give a sense of that, you know, the 10th of March deadline for the ceasefire, the IDF going into Rafah is fast approaching. Of course, growing international concern about the casualties. We're very, very close now to 30,000 Palestinian deaths, 70,000 injured. The grim, number of 100,000, with 2/3 of those allegedly children. There's a UN Security Council resolution. The US vetoed the last one, but it's tabled another one that would impose some sort of halt. Where are we there? The hostage negotiations, exactly as Ali alluded to. The problem is at the moment, although everybody seems to be a bit positive about it, it's very hard to see Hamas giving up the hostages without a guarantee that the war is over, because that's the only negotiating tool they've got. And Israel's made very clear, Netanyahu, that he's going at this until Hamas is destroyed. And also the protests in Tel Aviv are not getting any quieter, people saying more needs to be done. And finally, on the Egyptian border, just down to the south west of Rafah, there's lots of building work going on, and we're not quite sure whether that's a wall being built or whether some sort of sanctuary. A lot of moving parts, very difficult to make sense of it at the moment.
In terms of whether we're drawing closer to some kind of deal or not, I mean, on one level you could say no hope at all. There are other headlines that come out that suggest otherwise.
It very definitely feels we're approaching a culminating point, this sort of final chapter of the war before we start sort of the day after. The challenge, of course, how do we navigate between where we are today and that sort of day after the war? Meanwhile, outside of this, there's attacks on the Red Sea this weekend, despite the fact that the West went in, US and UK, with more attacks against the Houthis. They've escalated their attacks out there. Hezbollah, they've been continuing to fight across the border. Breaking news this morning is that there's also a series of airstrikes that Israel have conducted against more targets in Lebanon. That's escalating. Humanitarian aid getting spiraling out of control at the moment. Dire situation, and some UN leaders calling that it'll be a bloodbath if the IDF go into Rafah. A UN chief said the other day, literally, the Rafah will be if they go into Rafah, it'll be the final nail in the coffin for aid into Rafah. There's an increasing sense of isolationism that Netanyahu finds himself in now, both from the national and international community, with this complete focus of his on obliterating Hamas.
And just finally, in terms of any of the other things you're looking out for in the next couple of weeks, what's the focus?
I think the key for me is that normally a war will be started with a clear statement, political ambition of what the end state looks like, and allows the military to meet the conditions for that. We've never seen that, but over the last few days, Netanyahu has released a one-page plus document that sort of outlines his vision in 3 parts. It's not very much detail at all. The number one condition is to destroy Hamas. But given the strategic importance of this war and the price being paid by everybody, it does feel it's a degree of negligence about that without having really thought it through. We may well be getting closer to the end of this war. Netanyahu says it may be a matter of weeks now. But it feels to me that actually whenever the war finishes, the real work has then got to start, because you've got to avoid this sort of thing happening again. It looks very unlikely the warring parties will be able to deal with that. It's the international community not putting a sticky plaster over it, but finding a long-term solution.
Sure. As always, thanks so much. Now, in a newly published interview from 2020, Alexei Navalny has hit out at what he calls corrupt officials living in London who allegedly helped Vladimir Putin's regime stash dirty money. Well, more recently, the UK has faced criticism for having taken limited action in response to Navalny's death. Our international affairs editor, Dominic Waghorn, has this report.
He was a man with a deep love for his country and a profound belief in a better future for Russia.
I'm an optimist. I hope that this 20 years of Putin is not set in stone. We weren't doomed to it. We weren't meant to go in that direction.
The interview, acquired by Sky News and never seen before, is one of the last Alexei Navalny would give in full health. A few months later, he was poisoned before his 3 years in jail and then death in an Arctic labour camp. The interview shows Navalny for what he was, a young, charismatic politician offering an alternative to the theft and corruption of Putin.
The entire Putin elite is absolutely corrupt, and it is absolutely colonially minded. They have moved all their families, their children, their assets to the West. And they treat our country as a free hunting zone, and that's exactly how it works.
Navalny and his organisation fought with extraordinary courage against that alleged corruption with video exposés, claiming to show the lavish lifestyles of Putin and his elite, suffering raids and constant arrests. In a poignant moment in the interview, he makes it clear he knew the risks he was running.
Those who try to resist, let's say, they face the consequences quite quickly.
Some of Navalny's strongest words are against the West, and Britain in particular, for letting Putin and his cronies allegedly get away with it.
Why do corrupt officials still live in London? Because these corrupt officials feed a huge number of wonderful London lawyers. They will appear very civilized. We will be pleased to chat with them if they sit next to us. They will be wearing a tie and fine manners, and at the same time, they are serving the interests of utter, complete bandits.
It is a damning indictment of the way Britain has allegedly let the Putin elite stash its dirty money abroad. For Alexei Navalny, the Putin years have been an aberration. Russia's destiny, he believed, is a freer future. His final thoughts in this interview, now all the more haunting.
Russia is a European country. All the people who live here want to live like Europe. So I hope that 10 years from now, if you interview me again, I'll be able to tell you how we managed to overcome the corrupt money laundering.
Dominic Waghorn, Sky News.
Well, a statement from the Foreign Office said the UK sanctioned 2,000 individuals, companies and groups under our Russia sanctions regime alone, while directly targeting Putin-linked elites in the UK through the National Crime Agency's Combating Kleptocracy cell. Well, just days after the Court of Appeal backed a decision to strip Shamima Begum of her British citizenship, other women held in the same Syrian refugee camp have told Sky News they feel trapped there and abandoned by their governments. Our special correspondent Alex Crawford has been speaking to some of the women and children who want to escape.
Al-Roj camp in northeast Syria is filled with desperate families that nobody wants. They're families of ISIS fighters or supporters, women and children, many from the West, now abandoned by their countries. We tried to talk to the most high-profile to be stripped of her British citizenship.
Shamima.
But Shamima Begum, who ran away as a teenager, isn't talking after losing her latest legal challenge to regain it. The signs outside her tent indicate she's turned against ISIS, like all those we spoke to here told us. Many, like Shamima Begum, say they were trafficked to the Islamic State, often raped and beaten. Many have been here for more than 5 years, unable to leave, and argue they and their children are being punished for what their fathers did.
It's a bad mistake that I've made, but I want to go back.
Another Briton from Yorkshire, too scared to show her face, told us her 7-year-old son Adam, who was born in Raqqa, hadn't any future in the camp.
There's no schools, no reading or writing, nothing. And there's no doctors. And we want to get back home to try me out over there.
Her story's a familiar one, with a range of different nationalities telling us they'd been forgotten or dumped by their governments. Zakia wants to return to Germany, saying her husband tricked her into going to Raqqa.
I tried to run away 2 times, yes, but they catch me and they beat me, and then where to go? I stay. And then he died after 5 months. When I come 2014, I come. He died, and I was pregnant. What to do?
She had 2 children born in Germany and then 3 more born from forced marriages in Syria.
This one I give birth in Minbert, this one in Mayadin, and she in the camp.
In Al-Roj?
Yep.
And your older one?
She is in Germany, Stuttgart. I give birth her in Stuttgart.
I was born in Germany.
Many of the women appeared too frightened to be seen talking to us. There are extremist elements in this closed-off camp which many liken to prison, and there are a lot of children.
Of the tens of thousands of people held in the 2 camps, half of them are children. 80% of them are under the age of 12 and 30% are under the age of 5. And there are human rights organisations galore saying that this is in contravention of UN rights for children.
The boys are especially vulnerable, often taken to male prisons as soon as they reach puberty. This teenager vented much of the children's helplessness.
But my father is in prison. That's normal. We don't, my father, he done something. I'm totally okay with that, because he should pay for his own mistake, not me nor my brothers.
The children here have known nothing but conflict and closed camps, and no country seems to want to take responsibility for them. Alex Crawford, Sky News, in Al-Roj camp in northeast Syria.
You're watching Sky News today. Still to come, an investigation's launched into 8 home builders over a lack of new houses. How people in their 20s are more likely to be out of work due to poor mental health, and very much more. We'll be right back.
I'd logged in, and it was I'd seen there was a win. Didn't look at the date. I just looked at it, and there was a £2.60 win there. So I said to Debbie, we've won £2.60. She said, "Great, let's go and have a bacon butty or something, celebrate." And And then later on in the day, another email arrived, exactly the same message. I thought, there's a glitch. And so I logged in again, and there's a message there saying you've won £61,708,231 and call this number. And that's how we found out. And then we had, tried to ring and had problems with the phone signal and so on and so on,
Well, there are 3 bits of advice that we give them initially. The first one doesn't really apply to Debbie and Richard, and that is maintain your anonymity, at least until you've taken professional advice. The second piece of advice is to really just pause and reflect and put the money in a safe place on deposit. And the third thing that's really important is to take professional advice from somebody who's suitably qualified. And in fact, most of the pitfalls seem to emanate from not doing those 3 things.
OK, well, they haven't done the first thing, have they? They've gone public. Why do people go public?
I can see the benefits in it, because if somebody's won 61 million, then obviously their lifestyle is going to visibly change. So, there is an argument to actually go public and manage it in a better way. But the general principle is that, there are lots of Jackal winners that don't go public. They maintain their anonymity. Our typical advice is to, maintain your anonymity at least until that initial euphoria has died down and you've had the opportunity to reflect and take professional advice.
Welcome back. An investigation's been launched into 8 home builders after what's being described as the persistent under-delivery of new houses. The Competition and Markets Authority found fewer than 250,000 new homes were built across Britain last year, which is well below the 300,000 target for England alone. Let's get more on this from our business presenter, Ian King. Ian, talk to us about the headlines that have come out of this report. Is it that much new? A lot of shortages in house building has been quite well known.
It is actually very interesting, this, Wilf. This is a year-long investigation by the Competition and Markets Authority, which was launched at the behest of Michael Gove, the Levelling Up Secretary, under whose remit housing falls. Now, Mr Gove in particular has been very exercised by the possibility that so-called land banking has led to this persistent shortage in new homes. Land banking is essentially where a house buyer, a builder, will stockpile land and dribble it out onto the market and only develop it when it thinks that prices will be in their favour. Now, this is something that's been levelled at the house builders over a number of years, and interestingly, the Competition and Markets Authority has not found evidence of this. It doesn't think that is leading to the shortage in new homes. Now, it actually says land banking is a symptom of the market rather than a cause of the shortage. And really what the CMA says is the main issue is the planning system in England, Scotland and Wales, which it says is both complex and unpredictable. That is the main issue that the CMA has uncovered that's driving this shortage of new homes. So I think the house builders on the whole will be quite pleased that the CMA has concluded that. It's something that they've argued for many, many years. The other thing that the CMA has said is that speculative developments are holding back development of the market. Now, this is essentially down to the fact that house builders will only really build new homes when they're incentivised to do so. In other words, when they're going to get a decent return on the capital that they've invested. So they will buy land on a speculative basis without necessarily knowing whether there are going to be customers to buy homes on that land. And of course, they have to go through the planning process to do that. And again, the CMA finds that that is holding back building of new homes. What it says is that basically house builders need to be incentivised to build more homes other than by just demand alone, which is quite an interesting finding. Now, you mentioned that 8 of them are coming under further investigation. This is not part and parcel of the main thrust of the report, but essentially in going over this year-long study, the CMA has found evidence that 8 house builders may be sharing information. Now, it's stressing at this point that that is not necessarily in contravention of competition laws, but it's something that it will wish to look at further. It's come up with a number of other recommendations recommendations, one of which is that councils in future must be obliged to adopt local amenities on new house building estates. Often where you find a new housing estate being built, the local council will not adopt the roads as their own, and that is something that the CMA wants to see happen. But its main thrust today is that it's the complex and unpredictable planning regime that is holding back the construction of new homes.
Ian King, as always, thanks so much. We look forward to Business Live in 1 hour's time. But now, a quick look at the weather.
Warm memories wherever you
Coming up in part 2 of the History Hour, Soviet science and the two-headed dog.
Difficult emotions when I watch such video because it's an animal which, in the simple terms, was just tortured.
And a dispute over where to house the ashes of Christopher Columbus.
1492, he traveled to South America, he traveled to other islands, but he always lived here.
First, a news summary.
BBC News with Fiona MacDonald. Inaugurating a session of the UN's Human Rights Council in Geneva, the United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has said nothing justified what he called the collective punishment of the Palestinian people in Gaza. Mr. Guterres accused member states of turning a blind eye to international law, the Geneva Conventions, and even the United Nations Charter. The Israeli War Cabinet has been presented with a military plan for the evacuation of Palestinian civilians from Gaza combat zones. This comes after the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he would go ahead with an assault on the southernmost city Rafah, despite grave international concern. The Palestinian government, which administers parts of the Israeli-occupied West Bank, has submitted its resignation to the President Mahmoud Abbas. Mr. Abbas has come under growing pressure to shake up the unpopular Palestinian Authority. Police in the Belgian capital Brussels have fired water cannon at burning tyres as protesting farmers drove their tractors into the heart of the city. They say EU agriculture policies are putting their livelihoods at risk. The South Korean government has threatened to punish doctors who have been on strike now for a week unless they return to work by Thursday. A health minister said they could be suspended. The Nigerian army has issued a rare statement denying reports of an alleged coup plot within its ranks. The statement follows a news agency report that the Presidential Guard had been mobilized because of the suspected coup. Police in the Pakistani city of Lahore have had to rescue a woman from an angry crowd that mistakenly accused her of blasphemy. The woman was wearing a shirt emblazoned with Arabic calligraphy. And the police in Vietnam are searching for around 100 drug users who escaped from an overcrowded rehabilitation centre in the south of the country. 200 addicts fled. BBC News.
Welcome back to part 2 of the History Hour with Max Pearson. Still to come, the extraordinary...
Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa will provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
From SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prampram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prampram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386. And they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamb.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamb@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and The Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Welcome.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hands, the hand that made me who I am. Same God now, yesterday, and forevermore. And that's what makes you great. You are God. You will never change. You remain the same till the end. Till the end. You are God. One who took my pain, took away my shame. Lord, you reign. That's why forever call you great. Great are you, Lord.
Okay, let me say a massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. And those of you on other planets as well, I want to salute each and every one of you and welcome you to the Monday edition of The Morning Show. Today is the 26th day of the year 26th day of February, the year 2024, with the time now exactly at 10:48 from the heart of London, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
So from now till exactly 12 o'clock, where I bring you the live stories making the rounds, and then we take you to Cyprus at 12 o'clock for the Career 101 with HRH Linda Pallian. I want you to be my guest. Yes, make sure I take you to the heights that you really, really, really want. But do me a massive favor, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. Let me also take this opportunity to say good morning to my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy. Good morning to Mr. Olaimi Koiki, Mr. Frank Davids. Morning to Kofi Ali Abdul Yakin. My brother Felix, all the way in Aberdeen, massive good morning to you. Kojo D, good morning. And also good morning to the one and only Bishop Adeshina and all your team at the RBS office and all you wonderful people listening to us each day. I salute each and every one of you. Pastor Momo, good morning. Pastor Emmanuel Chidi, good morning. Anthony Adedeji Aziz, good morning. Yes, Tosin all the way in Moscow, our special envoy. I say good morning to you and welcome you all to the program. Rachel, good morning to you as well. Wherever you are, don't touch the dial. This is Starr Radio UK, and this is the Monday edition of the morning show. Yes, by way of program online, for those of you who have tuned in for the first time to listen to us on the Starr Radio UK, this is how the program will go. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day. The weather forecast will follow suit. Then the travel update as well. From thence, we'll move on to look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. It's known as Global Trotting. Then after that, I'll take you straight to Nigeria, to Ghana, to other parts of Africa, and then to other parts of the world as well. Then finally, we'll land here at the UK, in the UK, where we'll bring the first part of the program to a close. Then at 12 o'clock, I'll take you straight to Cyprus, where HRH Linda Palian is waiting for us, where she's going to bring you Career 101. So in a gist, that's going to happen. Exactly at 12:30, we'll bring the curtains down for the end of the program. So wherever you are, don't touch the dial. To all presenters on Starr Radio, KKB Bossman, Vicky Newton, Dave West, who else? BB Clement, and all you wonderful people who hold our backs, bring all the program. I salute each and every one of you. Once again, I say welcome to the program and welcome to Monday's morning show. Okay, so when it comes to the quote for the day, what does it say? It says, generally in life, there is nothing that happens without a cause. Generally in life, there is nothing that happens without a cause. So check, what is causing whatever thing that is happening to you? Is this something that you might have done, or you might have by your action or inaction that have precipitated that action to take place? What do you think about it? Let me know. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Moving on straight to the weather front as well. What has the weather got in stock for us? And I can tell you, for London and the southeast of England, well, today will be windy. This morning will be overcast. Clouds will tend to break up in the afternoon, leaving some late sunshine. There's a slight chance of a shower. Now tonight we'll see most clouds diminish, leading to mainly clear night. There is a chance of some low cloud or fog developing in places. Winds will also diminish overnight. When it comes to the temperature is going to be 9 degrees. Otherwise, it's going to be 1 degree. Now UV level is going to be low and pollution is going to be low. Sunset 17:35 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 06:53 hours. And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast as well. This is Starr Radio UK, the Monday edition of the morning show. Now I'm going to move you straight to the travel updates as well. And what is happening on the travel updates this morning? And I will say, keep your eyes on the roads, also keep it navigated. I promise, our bond, the Starr Radio UK, more travel update that comes to you every weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:53. And what is happening? Now, those of you using the underground this morning, well, Bakerloo line has got minor delays and Metropolitan line has got minor delays. That aside, all the others are running a good service. Landing cable car, landing overground, DLR, my apologies, landing overground, DLR, and landing tramlink, good service there as well. On the major roads in London, apart from the A23, that's got serious delays. Where Brighton Road, all direction at the junction of Christchurch Road has got temporary traffic signals, and that is in place for Thames Waterworks, and that's causing some delays. That aside, all the other routes are running. There are no exceptional delays there. And then move on straight to the river bus. On the river bus as well, good service throughout. The London cable car, good service there as well. Bringing us straight to the final segment of the travel update, and that is the National Rail. Now, what has the National Rail got in stock for us as you keep your eyes on the roads? Now, Gatwick Express have got special service, Great Western Railway, minor delays, London North Eastern Railway, special service, Northern Rail, special service, ScotRail, minor delays, Southwestern Railway, minor delays, Southeastern, minor delays, Southern, severe delays, and Thameslink has also got severe delays. But that's how I would say it wherever you might be listening to us from. Well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your coming for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes where? On the roads.
You are God, one who took my pain, took away my shame.
You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired. Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep. Welcome back to the program, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 10:56, and it's now time for us to go global trotting. As I said earlier on, do me a massive favor, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones, and invite them to do what? Like our pages as well. The Starr Radio UK morning show comes your way weekdays from 10 o'clock, where we bring you all the news from across the globe via Sky and BBC as well. And then we bring you the in-house program from exactly 10:30. Okay, after promotions and all that stuff until 12:30, where we normally, but there are various days and various times for various segments and duration for each of the program. But wherever you are, don't touch your dial at all. We've got lots of other programs that are going to be coming your way, health programs and stuff like that. So just bear with us. Let me say good morning to my own princess back in Ghana as well, my daughter-in-law and my granddaughter there as well, Patricia Olali Hammond. Massive good morning to you, and then to my princesses. So Donna Hammond, yes, she was singing some birthday songs for me over the weekend, and I really enjoyed that. A pride to be a grandpa, right? Okay. Now let's now move on to the news that is making the rounds across the globe. So, what is happening when it comes to Nigeria this morning? Well, DSS taking over High Court as Nnamdi Kanu's trial resumes. Dangote, Inosun, Lomelu, 13 added listed as members of Presidential Economic Advisors. Well. And then hardship Atiku to Tinubu, let Javier Milei of Argentina reforms serve as a lesson to you. And Nigeria's military speaks on reports of alert over coup plot. Well, maybe they want some people, they want to arrest some people. And fire raises Abuja residents of the federal capital. Minister is saying, and vandals destroy transmission towers in Gombe as power supply drops. And then strike. We cannot be intimidated. The NLC accused the federal government of planning violence against its members. Well, they have to make their voices heard, don't they? Okay, and then former Governor Bello's legacy, infrastructure, health, others worth emulating. That's what some editors are saying. Inflation rate, forex crisis, MPR, and other matters CBA and MPC will address this week. And the Pope Francis praise raises concern over rising kidnapping incidents in Nigeria and violence in Congo. I mean, it's looking at the world as a whole and looking at where there are a a bit of worrying there. Nnamdi Kanu trial, lawyers, litigants, and journalists lament as SSS restrict court access. They're always doing that. But I'll be telling you more about that. Listeners, this is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So let's move on. As the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, resumes on today, lawyers and litigants are stranded at the Federal High Court in Abuja. The Supreme Court of Nigeria's last December restored Mr. Kanu's trial after dismissing the judgment of the Court of Appeal freeing the IPOB leader. Mr. Kanu is standing trial for terrorism before Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Now, armed operatives of Nigeria's secret police, the SSS or the DSS, on Monday mounted barricades and adjoining route to the court located in the central area of Abuja. Typically, Monday mornings are busy with many cases, but the DSS personnel will not allow lawyers and litigants to enter the court premises without verifying their identities. Now, even lawyers and litigants whose cases are before other judges are not being prevented from entering the Federal High Court complex. A lawyer said as of 9:15, a larger number of lawyers and journalists were stranded outside the courtroom. Some lawyers engaged the DSS operatives in shouting matches as the former complained of missing their suits before other judges of the court. Now, members of Mr. Kanu's family, led by his younger brother Emmanuel Kanu, the IPOB leader's legal team, are in court for the day's proceedings. Now, in June 2021, the Nigerian government repatriated Mr. Kanu from Kenya after the Federal High Court in Abuja ordered the IPOB leader's arrest for jumping bail in 2017. The Court of Appeal in Abuja on 13th of October 2022 dismissed the terrorism and treasonable felony charges filed against Mr. Kanu based on his agitation for the secession of a Biafran republic comprising the 5 southeast states and parts of neighboring states from Nigeria. Now, a 3-member panel of the appellate court, led by Oludotun Defope Okoji, dismissed the terrorism and treasonable felony charges against Mr. Kanu. The court had ordered Mr. Kanu's release from detention after striking out a 7-count charge pending before Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Mr. Adefope Okoji held that Mr. Kanu's forced return from Kenya to Nigeria in June 2021 was a breach of local and international laws. By instead complying with the appellate court's decision ordering Mr. Kanu's unconditional release, the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation filed an appeal at the Supreme Court. The then AGF Abubakar Malami filed an application for a stay of execution. Well, so this is what is happening in Nigeria. That's the top of the story there, but I will bring you more of that one as well. Now, we cannot be intimidated. The NLC is accusing the federal government of planning violence against its members, and then Nigeria military is saying that, well, they have, speaking of reports of alert over coup plot, the defense headquarters had denied allegations that the Guards Brigade had been put on high alert over suspected activities of coup attempts in the country. They're saying that is false. Okay? And then Dangote, soon Lomelu, 13 others listed as members of the Presidential Economic Advisor. And fire has raised an Abuja resident of the federal capital to the ground, says Minister of State. And then the hardship, Atiku to Tinubu, let Javier Milei of Argentina's reform serve as a lesson to you. But does he actually care about that? Well. So coming your way from Star Radio UK. Lots more going to be coming your way from there. In other stories as well, ECOWAS lifts sanctions against Guinea and Mali. The lifting of sanctions signal a potential resumption of dialogue with the military regime in Guinea and Mali, despite their recent intentions. Were they hearkening to the advice of Yakubu Gowon, the former
head of state of Nigeria? Well, maybe or maybe not. Namibia's president, Gingo, laid to rest at Heroes Acre Cemetery after state funeral. And then showcase, Kenyan scientists test AI app to diagnose tuberculosis. Well done to them. Well done to them. And Tunisia jails president's critic Ben Mbarek for 6 months. Well. It's interesting, isn't it? And South Africa ANC launches manifesto ahead of May's election. And then, Okay, so lots more going to be coming your way from there. Ivory Coast president pardons dozens jailed for treason. Well, that's a good one there. And 700 dead from Zambia cholera outbreak as cases surge. Those are some of the stories making the rounds. This is Star Radio UK. This is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In Senegal, opposition calls for presidential election date. Well, we'll see about that. The president said he wanted to have a dialogue, yet people decided they don't want to be part of it. Now, lawyer sues the CJ, others over secular to all courts not to grant him audience. What did he do? Oh my. Okay, and NCA shut down 4 radio stations in Boko over security concerns. That brings into focus what happened in Rwanda that brought about that war and people who lost their lives there, because all that it took was somebody speculating or saying something on the radio station, a radio broadcast, and that brought about that. Okay, so we'll see what happens on that front as well. And then, 3 appointees who have rejected Baumia. It's one of the stories making the rounds. But one of the top stories that is making the round this morning talks about the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, to deliver State of the Nation's address. State of the Nation's address. Well, let's see what he has to say about it. It's all coming away from Star Radio UK. Let your work speak for you. Aikwe Otu tells special prosecutor. Well, I'll be telling you more about all that as the program unfolds. Now, moving on to other parts of the world before we land here in the UK. Gaza children search for food to keep families alive. And that's desperate time. An Air Force man set himself on fire at U.S.-Israeli embassy. Wow. And fewer children will be born. Alabama embryo ruling divides devout Christians. And Brazil ex-leader Bolsonaro denies coup allegations. I bet you it's going to be thrown into jail pretty soon. And the Japan moonlander survives lunar night as well. And thousands stuck on cruise ship over cholera fears. Oh, do you remember that? When we had the COVID? Yeah. People were stuck on cruise ships. Nobody wanted them to disembark. Okay, Chinese allegedly barred from German military plane. Why? And Zelensky says 31,000 troops killed in war in Ukraine. That's very, very sad one. And what will bring about the end of this war? That's on the lips of most people. This is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 2 years on, 31,000 people dead. Okay, let's come to the UK. Prime Minister calls Lee Anderson's Islamist comment wrong and unacceptable. Well. Some people were saying that he wasn't calling it in, but now he seems to have done so. And more young people out of work due to health study. A study is saying, what is it? Is it mental agility, mental strength? What is it all about? I'll be telling you more about that. Midlands and North to get relocated HS2 funds and car insurance quotes higher in ethically diverse areas. And then there are, I didn't capture that one. It is all coming away from Star Radio UK. Military personnel to quit over housing rules. There are some of the stories making the rounds this morning across the globe. So wherever you are, don't touch the dial. This is Starr Radio UK. This is the Monday edition of the morning show. Stay tuned and don't you go away. Let me bring you some music and we continue with the show. This is Broken Basket. X in One Basket by Kofi Boham. X in One Basket, not Broken Basket.
Yeah.
This is Starr Radio UK.
When you want to cross the road, look left, right, and left again. Look left, right, and left again. If you don't do this, you could die in pain. A motor go fit to jam you insane. Ay, 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 ay. But one day I saw you and you called my name, and I took no precautions to look elsewhere. Cause I can never be a casualty in your hands, oh my Jesus, say I can never be a casualty in your hands, you have not let one person slip. I can never be a casualty in your hands, I am my safest with you. I can never be a casualty in your hands. I can never be a casualty in your hands. Nobody has been, I will not be the first. I will never be. I can never be a casualty in your hands, no, 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 no. Cause I have put all my eggs into one basket. That basket is you, Jesus. 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 Say they can call me and say, they can call me and say, I have made my choice. I will follow till the end of the road. I have no backup plan beside you. My basket is there. I have put all my eggs into one basket. That basket is you, Jesus. 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 Sing, they can call me and say, they can call me and say, I have made my choice. I will follow till the end of the road. I have no backup plan beside you. My basket, Jesus. Said it's risky to follow Jesus. I tell them leave me, it's not your business. You choose to drink beer, I choose communion. You spend your money on fun, I push the kingdom. You like to follow the girls, I love to win souls. You make your sacrifice, I choose to pay tithe. So don't advise me, think on your own life. I have made my choice for life, and I have into one basket. That basket is you, Jesus. 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 Sing, they can call me. They can call me and say, I have made my choice. I will follow till the end of the road. I have no backup plan beside you. My basket, Jesus. I have put all my eggs into one basket. That basket is you, Jesus. That basket is you, Jesus. That inside my basket, Jesus. If you leave me, I have nowhere else to go. My basket, Jesus. What you will not do for me, let it remain undone. My basket, Jesus. If you feel I have failed, I have no backup plan. My basket, Jesus. I have put all my eggs into one basket. That basket is you, Jesus. That basket is you, Jesus. That basket is you, Jesus. They can call me and say, I have made my choice. I will follow till the end of the road. I have no backup plan besides you. My basket, Jesus. I have no backup plan. I have no backup plan besides you. My basket, Jesus.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to exactement 17 minutes. Past the top of the hour, that's 17 minutes past 11, and it is the Monday edition of the morning show. Of course, as I did say earlier on, exactly at 12 o'clock, I'll be taking you to Cyprus, where we'll have our own HRH, Linda Pallian, who's going to be bringing you Career 101. But until then, it is now time for us to bring you all the details of the story that is making the rounds that we've touched on this morning. As I say, from archaeology to zoology, if it's making the headlines, I promise you for sure I will touch on it. All right, then. Earlier on, I did bring you the story about what is happening in the courts this morning, for the capital courts, where we have the legal team of the IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, who has appeared in the courts this morning. The information coming through said that reports that that Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, has been held by Nigerian authorities in Abuja since his arrest in Kenya in 2021. Reports are saying all routes leading to the court has been cordoned off by armed security agents. Now, only those whose names were on a list held by its operatives or the DSS were granted access to the court's premises. Now, some media networks noted that before entering the court premises, journalists, litigants, and court staff were searched at a minimum of 4 checkpoints, starting from the road to the Ministry of Justice Although Kano's resident resides in the United Kingdom, he spearheads a years-long cause for the creation of Biafra Nation that he did reside. That was before his incarceration or illegal repatriation, as well as the split of Igbos from Nigeria. Now, former President Muhammadu Buhari vowed that under him, Nigeria will not break up. Now, apart from Kano, Buhari also sanctioned the controversial offensive of the residents of another separatist, Sunday Adeyemo Igboho. Igboho leads the charge for a Yoruba nation as well. So that's what is going on at the moment. We'll be bringing you more information about the proceedings this morning, as and when we have it. Whilst we are on air, if there's anything of the sort, I promise to bring that your way as well. Now, when it comes to the hardships that Nigerians are facing, well, what is our opposition there for? As the impact of high cost of living continues to bite harder, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has advised President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to allow the reforms of Javier Milei of Argentina serve as a lesson to him. The former vice president noted that Argentina and Nigeria closed the last quarter of the year 2023 on a similar path of economic downturn. Now, while in the case of Nigeria, a new government was installed at about the middle of 2023, for Argentina, the new government came on board in December. Now, Atiku, in a statement, noted that both leaders inherited a disorientated economy, but both applied different measures to recovery. President Javier Milei of Argentina, who was sworn into office on the 10th of December 2023, Atiku said inherited a worse condition than Nigerians. But where he did to return his country to a place where investors are starting to believe should serve as a lesson to Nigeria's Bola Tinubu, he said. The former vice president lamented that Nigeria is where it is today simply because of what Tinubu has done or did not do. He's shifting the blame on the opposition, and even ridiculously, his predecessor is needless and myopic. Now, market forces don't play politics. They respond to your actions and inactions. Now, President Milei's major campaign promise was to reposition the Argentine economy after years of slow growth, high debt levels, triple-digit inflation. That was about 160% when he took over the presidency in December 2023, and 40% poverty rate, he said. Now, explaining how the Argentine president was able to pull through, Atiku said his first task was to begin implementing measures to achieve greater macroeconomic stability and promote higher global competitiveness. He came into office with a comprehensive stabilization plan which seeks to implement far-reaching measures within the context of a market-oriented economy. Now, taking a swipe at President Tinubu on what he ought to do, and which the Argentine president did, that helped the country to overcome some of the challenges, Atiku said he started cutting government expenditure by cutting the size of government and wastages, block stealing of government funds, and attracted foreign direct investment through concessions, tax holidays, and improved ease of doing business. Now, President Milei flies regular business class for all his travels and does not offer the presidential fleet of Argentina for his son's birthday. Likewise, there is no settlement for his hangers on and political allies through unworldly and burdensome appointments to public office. Argentina's Milei did not build the largest government like Tinubu did at a time when our economy was and still on its knees. The examples set by President Milei are the requirement of leadership in a time when the economy has begun to fail the expectations of the people. He also noted that the reforms so far implemented by Tinubu's administration are ad hoc and hurriedly put together without proper review. Ours is unlike Argentina's Milei, who is sequencing his reforms President Milei anticipates that after reforms shocks and admits that things will be tough for the people, but he is fully prepared for the aftershocks and has in place mitigating pills. He walks the talk. He makes sacrifices himself by giving up perks of office. It is not business as usual for the presidency. While the people are called upon to make sacrifice, Argentina runs a lean government by reducing the number of ministries, privatizing nearly 40 state-owned enterprises, and reducing wasteful spending. Conversely, Tinubu in Nigeria increased the number of ministers and ministries and is spending enormous resources renovating houses for himself, his deputy, and the first lady. That is nothing short of narrow playing fiddle with Rome, or while Rome is on fire. So where still Tinubu has refused to roll up his sleeves and do the work that he signed up for. Instead, he and his team are preoccupied with behaving like Napoleon and Squella characters in the satire book Animal Farms, who made it a state policy scapegoating Snowball the opposition for their own failures arising from their ill-advised policies. Atiku said that he is attracted to reforms in Argentina because Javier Milei's stabilization plans bears a similar emblem with his Recover Nigeria plan. Well, so with that president hacking to him and thinking that, well, he's one who is advocating for a plan like that. Maybe if it didn't work for Argentina, or it seemed to, show the signs of working for Argentina, then why not? Listen to Starr Radio UK. The private residence of the LCT Minister of State, Dr. Maria Mahmood in Abuja, was razed down by fire on Sunday. Media aide to the minister, Austin Elume, who confirmed the incident to the news agency of Nigeria, said the cause of the fire was being investigated by authorities. He said that the fire began around 10 a.m. at a residence located at number 7 Rosalind Okeji Close, Mark Okoye Street, Osokoro in Abuja. When contacted, the acting director, LCT Fire Service, Amiola Adebayo, said the service received the distress call at 10:30 a.m. immediately dispatched firemen to the scene. Mr. Adebayo said that although no life was lost, all the household contents of the upper floor of the 7-bedroom duplex were razed by fire. Okay, we have the former vice president and the leader of the opposition, that is Atiku Abubakar, calling on the president of Nigeria to copy or take a leaf from the book of the president of Argentina. So I think in the way to actually get a proper advice, he decided to bring on board people with high esteem or in high esteem who are in the business sector. So notably Dangote, Inoson, Olumelu, and 13 others have been listed as members of presidential economic advisors. Now, President Bola Tinubu has set up an economic advisory committee constituted members of the private sector players such as Aliko Dangote, Femi Atedola, Tony Elumelu, Innocent Chukuma, they call him Innocent, Abdul Samad Rabiu, BUA, among others. The tripartite committee comprised of 17 members from both the federal government, subnational, and private sector. Now, President Tinubu declared during the inauguration in Abuja with governors and business figures on Sunday that all potential strategies will be examined to address the socio-economic difficulties facing the nation. According to the president, the federal government is ready to collaborate closely with all stakeholders to identify enduring solutions to the country's current situation. Also speaking at the meeting was the governor of Anambra State, Charles Solodu, who said the meeting allowed for cross-fertilization of ideas on the state of economy and the way forward, adding that every Nigerian needs to contribute to its growth. On his part, the governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, said that all the governors have resolved to join hands with the president to provide necessary intervention to cushion the effects of the administration's reforms. But is it going to pan out well? Is it going to give the Nigerians the result that they want? Well, as people are hungry, desperate, and in all sorts, well, people allege that, or are of the view that with that desperation, there's a tendency that there could be maybe coup d'etats or anything of the sort being planned. However, the defense headquarters has denied allegations that the Guards Brigade has been put on high alert over suspected activities or coup attempts in the country. The acting director of Defense Information, Tako Gusu, a Brigadier General, disclosed this on the that is Defense Headquarters official X account on Sunday. Mr. Gusu said the attention of the Defense Headquarters was drawn to a report published by Sahara Reporters on 25th of February claiming that the Guards Brigade has been put on high alert following unusual movements leading to a suspicion of a coup plot in Nigeria. The report also said the suspicion prompted an emergency meeting involving President Bola Tinubu, the Chief of Staff to the President Femi Gbajabiamila, and the Commander of the Guards Brigade, Adebeshi Onasanya, a colonel there as well. Mr. Gosu said the publication was figment of the imagination of the publisher and should be disregarded by the public. He said the Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa, had repeatedly reiterated the unalloyed commitment of members of the armed forces to the protection and sustenance of democracy in Nigeria. We hope so. Nigeria would have said so. Which other country? Guinea would have said so. Mali would have said so. Burkina Faso would have said so. But what did we see? Well. It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Well, that decision still goes on. Labor unions in Nigeria, President of the Nigeria's Labor Congress, Comrade Joe Ajero, has claimed that the federal government is planning to promote violence against NLC members over its planned nationwide strike on Tuesday. Now, Ajero insisted that the protest will hold in line with the decision of the NLC National Executive Council, adding that the pangs of hunger cannot be vowed by bullets or tear gas. In a statement on Sunday, the Labour leader alleged a plot to attack the protest, warning that there would be a total shutdown if attacks or violence were unleashed on peaceful protesters. Well, let's see what happens. Tomorrow is just how many hours away? Well. So it's 11, so 11:32 now. So I would say it is about 36 hours away. Let's see what happens on that front. Listeners, this is Starr Radio, okay? This is the Monday edition of the morning show, and that was updates from Nigeria. Now let's move on straight to some other stories making the rounds, because as I say, we are pressed with time. Now, in other stories making the rounds on the African continent as well, WTO ministerial conference kicks off against backdrop of global instability. The member nations gathered in Abu Dhabi will discuss issues such as banning subsidies contributing to overfishing and digital taxation. We'll be telling you more about that. But Senegal opposition candidates vote in mock election to protest poll delays. Senegalese presidential candidates on Sunday cast their ballots in a symbolic vote organized by a civil society organization to denounce the postponement of the presidential election. The country's election was scheduled for Sunday. The presidential candidate who took part slipped their ballot papers into a box bearing the words RIP 25th February. We cannot accept with a stroke of a pen being deprived of what is essential to us. That is to say, our freedom and democracy, and above all, our ability to elect our leaders, said presidential candidate and former Dakar Mayor Khalifa Sall. Well, I'm going to be telling you more about that as the stories unfold on that front. But interestingly, the ECOWAS decision marks a step, but the decisions, okay, that ECOWAS has gone on to say they are lifting sanctions against Guinea and Mali. Now, the decision marks a step by ECOWAS towards resuming dialogue with the Sahel juntas. Burkina Faso, one of the 4 states governed by military regimes since 2020, also subjected to ECOWAS sanction, is not mentioned. After Niger, Guinea and Mali, in a statement released on Sunday, February 25, the Economic Community of West African States announced lifting financial and economic sanctions against the Republic of Guinea and lifting restrictions on recruitment of citizens of the Republic of Mali for positions within ECOWAS institutions. The regional organization had convened a new extraordinary summit on Saturday to discuss politics, peace and security in the Republic of Niger, as well as recent developments in the region. The lifting of sanctions against Guinea and Mali was not specified during the final address by Omar Aliou Touré, the president of the ECOWAS Commission, on Saturday evening. In Guinea, ECOWAS had banned financial transactions with its member institutions a year after Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya took power, overthrowing President Alpha Conde in September 2021. On Monday, the junta leader announced by decree the dissolution of the government in office since July 2022. In Mali, which has experienced 2 coups in 2020 and 2021, the regional bloc had imposed economic and financial sanctions, which it lifted in July 2022 when the ruling junta announced its transition timetable. ECOWAS decided to immediately lift the heaviest sanction imposed on Niger since the military regime took power in Niamey, overthrowing elected President Mohamed Bazoum in July, announced Mr. Aliou Touré on Saturday afternoon. Now, Burkina Faso, one of the 4 states governed by military regimes since 2020, also subjected to ECOWAS sanction, is not mentioned in the regional organization final statement. This decision marked a step by ECOWAS towards resuming dialogue with these 3 military regimes, as Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso, which have notably turned away from France and drawn closer to Russia, announced in January their intentions to leave ECOWAS. The 3 countries have grouped together within the Alliance of Sahel States. So what will happen with this? Are they going to say, you know what? Yeah, I think they've lifted the sanctions, so let's come back together and let's do our own thing. Would that work? Would that augur well for them? Or what do you think? Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In other stories, Namibia President Hage Geingob was laid to rest in the country's Heroes Acre Cemetery on Sunday following a state funeral attended by African leaders, the German President and Princess Anne, and sister of British King Charles III. Now, Geingob died earlier this month at the age of 82 while receiving treatment for cancer. He was Namibia's 3rd president since it gained independence from apartheid South Africa in 1990. Before that, the Southern African country was a German colony. Geingob's widow, Monica Geingos, delivered a message at a memorial service on Saturday, paying tribute to her husband, rise from humble rural roots to his nation's leader and widely respected figure on the African continent. You were born a peasant and died a president, Geingos said at the memorial service at a soccer stadium that was filled with mourners. At his funeral on Sunday, Geingob's coffin was draped in the Namibia's flag and was carried in a glass case on the back of a military trailer. Now, representatives of 27 countries attended the funeral, including Princess Anne, German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier, Qatar President Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and 18 heads of state. The leaders of South Africa, Angola, Botswana, Kenya, Zambia, and Zimbabwe all attended. Steinmeier said at the memorial service it was the time Germany extends an official apology to the people of Namibia for atrocities inflicted upon them during the 1904 to to 1908 genocide, when German military forces killed approximately 50,000 to 65,000 Namibians, Herero ethnic group, and another 10,000 members of the Nama ethnic group. Gingop had pushed for reparation, for the communities affected by the massacres more than a century ago in 2021. The German government offered Namibia 1.1 billion Namibian dollars. Offered Namibia $1.1 in development funds to be paid over 30 years as reparation. It was rejected by the Namibian parliament and by the communities who asked for an improved offer. When I talked to Ginga for the last time last year, he spoke of his wish for the conclusion of the genocide negotiations. Thema said, "We are committed to the path of reconciliation. It is not about closing the past. It is about taking responsibility for their past and committing to a better future." A good one there. We hope that his death will augur well for his country and things will be peaceable as it has been. This is Star Radio UK. This is the Monday edition of the morning show. As I said earlier on, exactly at 12 o'clock, I'll be taking you to Cyprus, where we'll be having HRH Linda Pali and bringing you Career 101. Now, Tunisia jails president critic Ben Mbarek for 6 months. A Tunisian court on Saturday sentenced opposition figure Jaher Ben Mbarek to 6 months in prison after being convicted of conspiring against state security. The news of Mbarek's sentencing was confirmed by his lawyer and sister. Mbarek is a fierce critic of President Kais Saied. He was arrested in 2023 after he criticized the 2022 parliamentary elections. His lawyer criticized the sentencing, saying Mbarek was not given a chance to defend himself. The lawyer himself, Mbarek, founded the Citizens Against the Coup movement in 2021 following a power grab by President Saied. Now, elected in October 2019 for a 5-year mandate, Saied suspended parliament in July 2021, effectively giving himself absolute powers. Listeners, this is Star Radio UK. This is the Monday edition of the morning show. We take a quick break and I'll take you to other parts of the world for what is happening there. So wherever you are, don't even think of touching the dial. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa will provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233244941 002 or 00233200606 and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
You are listening to Star Radio Morning Show.
Welcome back to the program, Star Radio UK, to the final segment of the first part of the program. Now let's go to other parts of the world. Let's look at some of the stories making the rounds there, as I did say. In Ghana, where I'll just touch on one story from there as well. God willing, if Friday we are still alive, we'll have a representative of the ruling government who will be on the show. Yes, I'll be telling you more about what they're going to be discussing. That is a program that is going to be taking place here, and one of them is going to come to address it. Okay. Now, a former Attorney General Ayikwe Otu has voiced concerns regarding the behavior of the special prosecutor, Kiseja Bin, deeming many of his public statements as unnecessary. Mr. Otu expressed dissatisfaction with what he perceives as excessive involvement with the media. According to him, the attitude diminishes the prestige of the office of the special prosecutor. During an interview, Mr. Otu emphasized that the importance of fighting corruption instead of seeking public validation. For me, you can work quietly and achieve results, so you let your results speak for you. The constant holding of press conference does not augur well for that office. People must show respect to that office. Now, people must hold you in awe that this is the guy fighting corruption, when you are always out there talking, holding press conferences and the rest. You make your office look ordinary. I don't think Martin Amidu was doing that, he said. So, I'm not happy with the talk. Too much of talk. And then, I have also said elsewhere that the deal with the big issues, Mr. added. His remarks follows the recent expression of concern by the OSP regarding the growing trend of dismissive rulings on suspected corruption cases, which it fears might impede the fight against corruption. Speaking to the media on Wednesday, November 29, the prosecutor, Kiseja Ben, voiced his apprehension about the growing hasty dismissiveness and lack of regard for suspected corruption cases. This, he believes, could seriously hinder his office ability to fulfill his mandate. But Ayiko too is of the view that stop all the talking. Let your job, let your action do the talking, and the public will validate you by your actions, not your talks. But what do you think about that? It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. What is the state of the nation of Ghana like? Well, Kufuor to deliver Sona tomorrow. The state of the nation address tomorrow. We'll try to see whether we can pick some bits there in there to bring your way, and we will try to see whether we can question. I'll put those questions across to the representative of the government, the ruling party. Let me put it that way. Who will be on Starr Radio UK, God willing, on Friday. Okay. The University of Ghana has amended its academic integrity framework, particularly in its approach to plagiarism. Now, a notice signed by the registrar, Emilia J. Mensah, and dated February 26, 2024, revealed that the University Council and the Academic Board have greenlit a series of crucial updates with a primary focus on combating plagiarism and other forms of academic misconduct. The revised policy, approved following recommendations by the Business and Executive Committee, reflects the institution's unwavering commitment to upholding the highest standards of integrity and ethics in academic endeavors. Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. This is the morning show, 11:47, and therefore I take you straight to other parts of the world as well to bring you some of the other stories making the rounds there. In certain places at certain times, just staying alive is something for a boy to be proud of, let alone going out every day to find the food that keeps your family from starving. Now, every morning, Mohammed Zorab 11 goes out into the southern Gaza city of Rafah on a mission. He takes a big plastic bowl and heads to schools that have become refuge centers and to makeshift camps on the roadside where people suffer like his own family but might still have something to feed the child or strangers. Muhammad also goes to hospitals where the wounded arrive at all hours and anywhere else where there might be a pot boiling over an open fire. That's how desperate the situation in Gaza is like. Well, but what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? But how far on what will happen when when it comes to this war. How far will Israel go? A member of the U.S. Air Force is in a critical condition after setting himself on fire in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington. Officers from the U.S. Secret Services extinguished the flame before the man was taken to hospital on Sunday afternoon with serious injuries. The U.S. Air Force confirmed an active duty serviceman was involved, but he has not been identified. The police, the Secret Services, the service, and other authorities are investigating. In a video that was live streamed on Twitch, the man identified himself and said he was a serving member of the Air Force. Now, before setting himself on fire, he said he will no longer be complicit in genocide, and he was heard shouting, "Free Palestine," as he burned. A bomb disposal unit was sent to the site and over concerns about a suspicious vehicle that could have been connected to the individual. This was later declared safe after no hazardous materials were found. No embassy staff members were injured in the incident, said a spokeswoman for the embassy. The Israeli Foreign Ministry said the man was not known to embassy staff. It is not the first time someone has self-immolated in front of an Israeli diplomatic mission in the U.S. In December, a protester set themselves on fire in front of the Israeli consulate in the U.S. state of Georgia. A police said demonstrators used petrol and Palestinian flag was found at the demonstrator used petrol and the Palestinian flag was found at the scene on that occasion. Now the question is, that action that you took, does that actually stop them from doing whatever they are doing? As I'm saying, calling it genocide, does it stop them from perpetrating that? Well. They still go on. So, what have you actually achieved? And one other story before we come to the UK. Now, former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has claimed that he has been a victim of political persecution since leaving office just over a year ago. He told tens of thousands of supporters in Sao Paulo that coup allegations against him were a lie. He also called for an amnesty for hundreds of his supporters convicted for attacks on public buildings. He also called for police are investigating whether Mr. Bolsonaro incited a failed coup after losing the 2022 election. Addressing Sunday's rally in Brazil's largest city, the 68-year-old former president dismissed the allegations against him as politically motivated. Who do you think is taking his template, or is his trailblazer? He also used his speech to talk about the next presidential election in 2026. Mr. Bolsonaro is still barred from running for office for 8 years for undermining the electoral systems in Brazil and claiming that the last election was fraudulent despite there being no evidence of electoral fraud. Who does he resemble here? Now, huge crowds wearing yellow and green, the colors of the Brazilian flag, gathered to hear Mr. Bolsonaro speak. Those I have spoken to say they are here demonstrating for freedom, and in particular, freedom of speech. They criticize what they see as threats to put Mr. Bolsonaro in prison for saying his opinion. Several of his supporters at the rally repeated unproven claims that the last election was fraudulent. He had asked them not to bring posters saying this or criticizing institutions like the Supreme Court. Alexander Franca, 53-year-old commission director, said many people gathered for the rally because he must express what he wants for we must express what you want for your country. Today, everyone is afraid of being repressed. So I think we're here to show our faces. We want Brazil for everybody, freedom for everybody, he added. But a bad precedent have been set. See, that's what I've been talking about. That is what I've been talking about. If the leader of the free world at the time took the same action, then if an election is held in Fantiaco, Fabaria Betu Chok, and then the incumbent decide, you know what, I think it was rigged because they lost, can we say we are taking troops down there, or can we call them to order that behave yourself? Because as trailblazers, we have to set good examples, and our action must speak louder than the words. But what do we see there? Somebody will say, well, they have the right to say whatever thing that they have to say. But if what you are saying is impacting on the nation as a whole, or the electoral system that you were involved in, then what do you think? Well, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'll be bringing you Career 101 in a moment. But people in their early 20s are more likely to be not working due to ill health than those in their early 40s, a report has found. Why? This is radically different from the past. The Resolution Foundation said, when the older you were, the more likely you were not to work due to sickness. Poor mental health among young people is on the rise, official figures show. So what is causing this mental health? This can hamper their education and lead them to being in lower paid jobs or unemployment. Now, 1 in 20 young people, that is 5%, were economically inactive due to ill health in 2023, it said. According to the report, young people now have the poorest mental health of any age group, a reversal from 2 decades ago when they had the lowest incidence of common mental disorders. In 2021-2022, 34% of young people aged between 18 to 34 reported symptoms of mental disorder such as depression, anxiety, or bipolar disorder. In 2000, that figure stood at 24%. As a result, more than 500,000, that is 18 to 24 years old, were prescribed antidepressants in 2021 and 2022. One of the senior economists at the Resolution Foundation said attention had more often been on mental health in higher education, but what should most worry us is when poor mental health comes together with poor education outcomes. The economic consequences of poor mental health are starkest for young people who don't go to university, with 1 in 3 young non-graduates with a common mental disorder currently workless, she said. Now, the study found that young women far worse and are 1.5 times more likely to experience poor mental health as young men, 41%, compared with the 26%. The results also found 79% of 18 to 24 years old who were workless due to ill health only have qualification at GCSE level or below. This compares with 34% of all people in that age group. If children aged between 11 to 14 suffer poor mental health, they are 3 times more likely not to pass 5 GCSEs, including English and Maths, compared with healthy children, the report said. Off the back of the study of the Resolution Foundation, which campaigns for better living standards for those on low and middle incomes, is calling for better mental health support in colleges and sixth forms, and for more to be done to make it so that less young people have compulsory education with low qualification levels. It's quite an interesting one, isn't it? This is Starr Radio UK. This is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One final story, and then I will take you to Cyprus, where our own HRH, Linda Pallian, is. The Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, says comments by the Tory MP Lee Anderson about the Mayor of London were wrong and unacceptable. Now, Sunak was responding directly to Rao for the first time in a series of interviews this morning. Lee Anderson told DB News on Friday Islamists had got control of the Mayor of London. The former Tory deputy chairman was suspended from the party after refusing to apologize for the comments aimed at Sadiq Khan. Now, Transport Secretary Mark Harper says Anderson's remarks were wrong, and his suspension shows the Prime Minister had taken clear and decisive action. Sunak had warned of the dangers of polarization and hatred in politics, but had not addressed the remarks directly until now. Khan had described the remarks as pouring fuel on fire of anti-Muslim hatred, and Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer called on Sunak to get a grip of his party. Now, Labour was accused last week of anti-Semitism. This week, we have the Conservatives being accused of Islamophobia. So, which one will I be accused of? People from other planets? Well. Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. I'm for all. Yes? All right then. We're going to take a break, and once we come back, I will take you to Cyprus, where our own HRH Linda Palian is to bring you Career 101. So wherever you are, don't touch the dial at all. Continue to listen to me here. Stay tuned, and don't you go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Welcome back to the program. At this juncture, I'll take you straight to Cyprus, where I've got my own and your own career advisor. She will hold your hand. She is my cheerleader, and she can be your cheerleader as well. So stay tuned whilst I take you to Cyprus, where HRH is. Over to you, Linda. Today she's looking at creating portfolios. Stay tuned. And it is my honor to say a massive good afternoon to you, Linda.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. And you? Great. How is Mr. Palian?
Very well. Thank you so much.
Good. How was your weekend as well?
It was good. It was full of working, but it was good.
That's good. We love that. Okay, so what are we looking at today?
They were looking at portfolios and personal websites.
Portfolios and personal websites. Okay, that's an interesting one. So maybe you want to have your own portfolio. You want to do something. You want to be able to sell yourself. How do you do all that? Well, that is what exactly our own HRH Linda Palian is going to be doing this afternoon. So let me hand over to her while she brings her presentation. Over to you, Linda.
Thank you so much. Today we've chosen to look at portfolios and personal websites. And as Archie said, it's a very topical subject to look at when you're selling yourself. Most of us are used to submitting a CV and a cover letter maybe that showcases our experience and what we do and what we're capable of. The next step further is creating a portfolio or personal website. Now, most creatives are used to creating portfolios because if you're a model or an actress, you probably will have like a portfolio of the things that you've done, or an artist will have their portfolio. But other professionals don't tend to have portfolios. So when we're talking about this, we're talking about portfolios in general for professionals and creatives as well. So how can you, as a dentist or as an accountant or as a marketing manager, still have a portfolio that will be able to sell you, and what the difference is between the portfolio and the personal website, and why you might consider having one or the other or both. So we'll just identify and look at the pros and cons of having either, and the benefits of having either a personal website or a portfolio.
Okay.
Right. So this is, again, taken from the application documents in the Career Success book. So these are other application documents that you might need. Now, a portfolio, when we talk about a portfolio, it's a collection of previous work, testimonials, a showcase of what you've done in the past. And we have a portfolio because they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. A portfolio really just demonstrates and gives evidence to everything that you said in your CV, that I've worked with this company, I've worked on this brand, I've worked on this campaign, I've worked with these account managers. So a portfolio will demonstrate that for you. And for creatives, as I said, for creatives, it's easy to run the campaign and say, I worked on this campaign and I did design the background music or whatever. But as an accountant or something, you could also show in your own words, it's not as straightforward as going, I worked with this company and there's their logo. But you can explain in your portfolio, well, we worked on this account. And if you have a non-disclosure agreement, because some people do when you work for someone, you don't have to mention the client's name, but you can describe them. So we worked for maybe a Fortune 500 company. At this point, they were looking to balance their books and maybe look at creative ways to save money in this arena. Then my personal responsibility of this was to evaluate these accounts and blah, 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 and then you put the results in. And those you can include in your portfolio. It doesn't necessarily have to be visual, but telling the story. So the portfolio goes into depth with what you did, how it impacted the company, where they were from, and as a result of your work, what the results became, and how happy they were, or what feedback you received. It's really important to create these portfolios, because you might think it's extra and it's a lot of work, but it might be the differentiator between you and the other candidates. Being able to evidence your work in a clear manner that the recruiter will see and go, oh, actually, I totally understand. That's a very creative way of doing stuff. So definitely everybody can put together a portfolio. And on your CV and on your cover letter, you're quite limited in terms of how many words, how many pages, how much you can elaborate on your experience. On your portfolio, you can go into detail. Including what softwares you use, what programs you used, who was involved as well. It's a little less structured than that. So really, if you think I have so much experience and I can't put it all in one CV, one 2-page CV or one 1-page CV, then definitely attach a portfolio which showcases what you've done. And of course, that goes a long way to sell you.
Okay. Linda, before you go on the portfolios, now, do companies or employers look? Some of them, do they look into people presenting portfolios to them as well, or you thinking that okay, maybe let me just use that to boost whatever that I'm doing? Which is it?
So, if you're not in an industry that typically looks at portfolios, they won't be looking
Mm.
They won't be requiring a portfolio from you. However, if you've attached it, they will definitely take a look at it.
Okay.
And again, that puts you heads and shoulders above the rest, because no one else would have done that. And if you've submitted this extra attachment, or you have this hard copy of a portfolio with you in an interview, they will have to take a look at it, and this is all of the extra stuff that you might not have the time or the opportunity to explain in the interview. But if you've handed over this piece of paper, they have it with them, and consciously or subconsciously, it implants you in their brain, as the person that went the extra mile. And everybody's looking for somebody that goes the extra mile.
Of course. And as you said, a picture speaks 1,000 words. Okay, so, well, it's up to you if you are listening to us this afternoon. Yes, Career 101, creating portfolios and personal websites. That's what we are looking at. And we have HRH Linda Pallian, who is doing the presentation. And let's go back to Linda. Over to you.
Fantastic. So we'll round up on portfolios. Again, it shows that you're proactive and motivated. I touched on this earlier. You can have a hard copy, and I would always recommend you have both. You can have a hard copy that you give out physically at your interviews, especially if it's visual. But also you can have an electronic copy that you attach when you do your application forms. If you're applying by email, you can send it as an attachment by email. Usually when you're filling application forms, there's usually a button for additional evidence. You can attach that there too. So I would suggest to have both copies, just in case. And also the recruiter might not be the same person that interviews you, so whether you've given it to them already in an email, it serves you well if you have it in hard copy to present to the person in front of you as well. So you've got your hard copy and you've got your online version. Now let's talk about what else goes into a portfolio, and then we'll talk about personal websites. So when you start gathering your evidence, you want to take screenshots of emails as proof, if take off the sensitive data, photos of the project, but also it needs to be structured in a way that everything that you include should say something, and a specific something about you, rather than, oh, this is nice to have. Then I'm going to go through 20, 30 pages. But if you organize your portfolio in a way that it evidences key skills that are necessary for the job, it really helps. So identify what you're trying to say or trying to portray in your portfolio. Be intentional when you create it. And consider what format it needs to be as well, whether it's hard copy or not. Be creative as well in terms of how you portray it, especially if it's not in the creative industry where it's all pictorial. You don't want to write essays about what you've done. So just a few bullet points that highlight it and including visuals where necessary will really help. A good rule of thumb is to try and include as many of the 5 senses as possible, because everyone learns differently. So some people might appreciate the paragraph by reading, some people might appreciate the visuals, some people might appreciate the statistics, some people might appreciate experience and experiential learning, of saying, imagine and creating this scenario and taking them on a journey where you immerse them in whatever the project was. So you can do a small exercise to demonstrate that. So as much as you can include all the 5 senses, the better it will be for you in your portfolio. And of course, you can tailor your portfolio to different jobs that you apply to. If you're doing a portfolio on modeling and you're now applying to an industry that doesn't really, where those transferable skills are not the key skills required, then you would be selective about how much of your modeling stuff you include in there.
So on that, so you have to make sure that the transferable skills have got something to do with the presentation that you are doing. If not, don't put it in.
Exactly. You can mention it briefly, but don't make that the focal point of what you're trying to say, because if, for example, if you're going to a factory work, it's not relevant to them, and then that would derail the interview.
Yeah.
Being discerning is important when including stuff in your portfolio.
All right, continue. Yeah.
And make sure that it's consistent with your brand. That's the last thing I will say as well. If you want it to come across as super organized or color coded or whatever impression it is you've given from your CV and your cover letter, then make sure it's consistent as well. I won't go putting in, or I wouldn't have someone else create a portfolio for you, and then it doesn't match with the person sitting in front of them. If it's super manicured and super tailored and color coded, and you are a complete different, whatever the opposite of that is.
Good.
So that you did do your work yourself, and you don't want to start off by cheating.
Of course.
Okay. So now let's look at personal websites, because I get asked about this a lot. Should I have my own website? Everything is digital nowadays, and rather than making my CV and tailoring it, if I have my website, then they can go look. For some reason, this is people think, well, if I create a website, then people are just gonna go to look. Think about how reluctant you are to click on a link when you're not convinced what's being.
Yeah. I wouldn't do that. Okay, Linda, we can't hear you. Okay, yes, now I can hear you. No, it's gone again. Yes, I think you're back.
Right?
Yes, yeah, we can hear you now.
That's my train of thought there. But again, your website is, if you create a website with, people think if you create a website and maybe I put my modeling stuff on one section and the other stuff on one section, it makes it confusing. And if the more work, the more barriers to discovering who you are, the less likely people will follow through and go all the way to read your About Me section, to read your engineering section, to read your whatever. Personal website is a good asset, but make sure it's intentional. If you do decide to do it, it's a good tool, and it shows proactivity, and it shows that you have a brand, or you believe in yourself, and it's a good showcase, and it's more accessible than printing off a CV or having a bio ready. But make sure it serves a particular purpose. You want it to be easy to navigate. They can go to the right place. If you want to send them just the CV aspect of it, then make sure the link goes directly to the CV. It doesn't go to the homepage, and then they have to look for the CV aspect of it. Okay. So there's different benefits of having a personal website. Two things to definitely include: it should have a strong About Me section, but also your personal contact, how they can reach you from there. So definitely must include. It can be one page. It doesn't have to be an elaborate website. It doesn't even have to be a paid website. You can have one of these free extensions. I think to some extent, depending on what job you're trying to go for, you can be forgiven for having a free website with just a page on there. As long as it's a well-presented page. What are the benefits of a personal website? It boosts your online image. It comes in handy when you're being headhunted, so that you're not having to now tailor a job, or tailor your CV, or spend time from your current occupation to tailor it to it. But you can direct people there easy, so it's an online presence ready for whoever is looking to have you. And it doesn't say, oh, I've just put my CV out there. It was already there. I just send them a link to it to see who I am. And your LinkedIn profile to some extent can do this for you too.
Okay.
It makes you easily searchable, so it enhances your search engine optimization as an individual. You can control what people see about you when they search for your name, which is really helpful if you've you've been in different industries and you're trying to control the narrative where you go into. It showcases your creativity for sure. It's an easy way to contact you or to showcase who you are. And it's a quick way to show your competencies without having to explain so much. And you can put videos on there so you can evidence everything that you're trying to convey in a really easy way, in a one-stop way. Yes, so you can have a personal website when it comes to just a general showcase of who you are and trying to have a hub where people can contact you. But generally, a portfolio will do for a job application. A personal website is a step further. And you can have both, of course.
Okay.
Well, as long as they're consistent. You don't want to have different portals that represent different aspects of your multiple personalities. It becomes confusing.
Wow. Listeners, HRH Linda Palian today on Career 101, looking at creating portfolios and personal websites. Now, are you trying to do something of the sort and you're not very sure of it? Well, this all came from the book that she's written. So those of you who joined in the first part, the early part of the conversation, you could see the books there. Now, this time around, I'm going to be, directing you, let me put it that way, to the books or referring you to the books. So once we have the conversation or the summary, go to the books and then you can get a summary from there, the details and everything there. But for today, I will let her summarize Well, listeners, that was HRH Linda Palian bringing you Career 101. Today we had a look at creating portfolios and your personal website. Now, with all the discussions that we've had, if you want any further details about it, as we said, get in touch with her on the contact details that she put across. And then get yourself on your hands on these books that we've talked about as well. It will help you great deal. Get yourself on your hands on the 3 books. My goodness. When it comes to career, that is the way to go. All right then. Well, I'm going to bring the program to a close. It's now 11 minutes past 1. And we bring in the morning show to a close this afternoon exactly at 5 o'clock. I'm the one and only Queen. Regina Enima will be coming your way with the On Point show. And then we'll be having the one and only maestro himself, Dave West, also joining in, bringing you Conscious Reggae at 10 o'clock exactly. So on that note, this is where I bring the program to a close for today. It's me, Archie, your one and only. Yes, listeners, my sincere apologies. The latter part of the interview, I think we lost sound there. My sincere apologies. What I will try to do is next week, God willing, I'll repeat that topic again because it was quite an interesting one, because that is the only way that we can help our youth to be able to get themselves in a place where they can get themselves jobs to do. So creating portfolios and personal websites, I will bring that your way, God willing, next week. And then interestingly, as some statistics and some this and have come out to say that most of our youth are having a problem. The 20s, those in the 20s upwards, are having mental health and will take time off work. But back in the day when I was that age, I don't remember a day that I was ill that I would say that I didn't go out to work or anything of the sort. But it looks like that's what is going on. But, well, we're here to help you in every way, shape, or form. And we'll have Linda being in our corner as well, who is going to be helping you. So get in touch, and then we'll help you on that front. But on that note, let me say thank you very much for joining us today for the morning show. I want to salute each and every one of you who joined us, and I want to say that whatever your endeavors are today, may you enjoy it, and may everything work together for good for you. But I signed out this song, this program, with a song from Wuta, and it says Country Hot. I bet you, if Nigeria is not hot, I don't know what Nigeria is. And if Ghana is not hot, I don't know what Ghana is. And if West Africa, oh boy, what about other parts of the world? Well, so when that song ends and you don't hear from me, it's been me, Archie, saying have a top of the day. Bye-bye for now.
Hungry man say fix the country. Bellefou say fix yourself. Pray for change. Country hot, chale, kala kala. Country hot, hot. Everybody feel the heat, even the king they feel the heat. So we are the pray for change. We say fix the country. They say fix yourself. Aye. Fix the country. Fix yourself. Hey, tell me who be the country? Tell me you be the country. Fix yourself. We say fix the country. They say fix yourself. Fix the country. We say fix yourself. Hey, tell me who be the country? Tell me you be the country. Fix yourself.
water plenty, the move be festive. Water plenty, the move be festive. You will get to go, plenty go, but we still they borrow, they go. To get a job, baby, whom you know. We live like cops in a barrel. Shayo, Babeshi and low. Hey, we say fix the country.
You say fix yourself.
Aye, aye, aye. Fix the country.
We say
now,
fix
now,
yourself.
now. Hey,
tell me who be the country? We be the country.
Now you be the country.
Fix yourself.
I wanna hear that. Hey, we say fix the country.
You say fix yourself.
Aye, aye, aye. Fix the country.
We say fix yourself.
Hey,
tell me who be the country? We be the country. You be the country. Fix yourself.
I agree. Share your minimum wage be hand to mouth. The government knows the pay for month. From the same pay begin to talk. The bills.
Thanks for listening.
Building mansions after few years. Now who cares about the confess? And each man living for himself. We say fix the country.
You say fix yourself.
Aye, aye, aye. Fix the country.
We say fix yourself.